Hey guys, welcome to another episode of Living in Our 20s. If you haven't already, please make sure you hit the like and subscribe button below and follow us on all our platforms. So today we have a very special guest. He's an amazing spoken word artist, writer, part-time minister. He does it all really. Please help me welcome Eman the Messenger, also known as Emmanuel. So Emmanuel, welcome. How are you?
I'm doing good. I'm doing okay.
Good. Thank you so much for coming.
No worries.
So, as I start all my podcasts with, I tend to ask people how old they are, so people can gauge where they're at in life. So, how old are you?
I'm 24 years old.
Jeez.
I'm gonna be 25 in like 2 months.
How do you feel about that?
I feel old, man.
I
feel old. I feel like the years have just gone by so quickly. Yeah.
I hear that.
Yeah.
So, let's first start with your creative career. So, what led you to become an artist?
Boy. It's a long story.
We got time.
So yeah, I've always loved English. Always loved writing, especially creative writing. And literally, as I kind of ventured through life, secondary school, sixth form, uni, I also got a lot closer to God as well.
Yeah.
So like for me, I was trying to figure out, okay, what am I gonna do? Like what's working, what's not working. And I remember literally there was this time I was at church, right?
Yeah.
We were gonna do like a talent show. And basically my pastor was asking us, okay, so like who here does poetry? Anyone here that do poetry? I hadn't written a poem in years. Like
wow.
I used to write when I was a lot younger, so maybe like 12 years old, 12 to like 15. And I had literally forgotten that I did poetry. And
yeah.
I felt like in that moment something told me that like you do poetry. I was like, I don't know
Maybe
about
not.
this. Like I was doing sports science at the time, so it didn't really make sense to me. But I was like, okay, cool, I'll give it a try. So I put my hand up. I was like, yeah, I write poems. Or I've written poems in the past.
Yeah.
I can try and do something for the talent show. He was like, cool, yeah, great. Have it ready by next week. I was like, okay, cool. So I did this poem, and I think it was the response for me. So I knew that, okay, this is a gift that you've given to, like, this is a gift I have, like, because, the response I got was a lot.
It was a lot.
Do you
remember what the poem was about?
It was about God being my first love.
Oh, that's nice.
And basically about, like how before anything else, before anyone else, he's always been, like, there for me. And the reception that I got, as I said, it was a lot. It was like, am I really that good? Like,
you're like, I'm just saying some words.
I'm just saying some words.
Yeah.
But other people were like, no, like you write really well. And I guess that's the funny thing about, I guess, launching a creative career is that you don't think that you're
You're
as
great,
good as other people perceive. That was kind of how I knew that, okay, I'm cool to doing this.
Cool. And you started to make more poems.
Make more poems. More people started like inviting me to do different things. Just kept the ball rolling, really.
And was there, as you sort of started to develop in your craft, were there any other artists or poets that sort of inspired you or influenced your taste?
That's a good, okay, so there's one guy called John Jorgensen.
Okay.
He's a spoken word artist, guy, he lives in America. And I remember like listening to some of his spoken words and being like, this is so dope, like this is awesome. So he's a very, very big influence. I would say another big influence for me is Joseph Solomon.
Oh, I love Joseph Solomon.
Right? Yeah,
He's great.
Everyone loves Joseph.
I love him. He got me
loves
into poetry, so I love him so much. I just like, anyway, you can talk about him, but I love him.
Yeah, no, he's cool, man. I think for me, it's the way that he, it's the way he talks about his faith, but then he marries it with different topics.
Yeah.
And he's very real.
Yeah.
Very authentic, very genuine. I think I appreciate that from poets, because you have a lot of spoken word artists that don't really speak about what they've actually been through. They may just kind of, it's like a caricature kind of thing.
Yeah.
And I appreciate that he actually puts his kind of life out there and relates it to his faith. And a lot of the stuff that Joseph spoke about was stuff that I was going through.
Yeah.
Which is really weird. It was like,
my life.
Speaking my life, kind of thing. So he's a big influence on a personal level, you know.
Mm.
If I'm talking maybe skill and different kind of literary devices, I would speak about Ezekiel.
Ezekiel, yeah.
Who else? Ezekiel, Preston.
Mm.
I'm not really yeah, there's other people I'm not really a fan of. I'm not going to mention.
Okay, don't worry, don't mention it. I don't think they're like that. That's fine.
But from a creative standpoint as well, in terms of like visuals and things of that nature,
Yeah.
I look at someone like Chris Webb,
Okay, yeah.
for instance. So he's another one that's a part of like the whole PIA group, Poets in Autumn, and all that stuff. So yeah, there's quite a few people.
Quite a few people.
Quite a few
that's
people.
Good.
Yeah.
That's good. And I know that sort of your creative phrase is poetic persuasion, change perspectives. Could you just elaborate a bit more on this, and like what you mean by that and how it flows into your work?
Yeah, so poetic persuasion, changing perspectives. So I can't remember exactly how that came. I think one day I was just trying to figure out like, okay, why do I do poetry? What do I want people to take away from it? What's my kind of mission with this thing?
Yeah.
And so poetic persuasion, changing perceptions is basically about my poetry challenging people's views, connecting with them, and also demonstrating like my faith as well and what I stand for in terms of my principles. So with each poem, my hope is that like it will change your perception in some sort of way.
Yeah.
Whether it's a little bit, whether it's a lot, like whether it's just like a little seed or whatever. But yeah, it changes your perceptions. It challenges you to kind of think on a higher plane.
Yeah.
So sometimes, like if I speak, let's say I have a poem about pain or something like that. Yeah, I'll speak about pain in a very authentic way, but I'll also challenge the person like to look at pain in a way that teaches them, you know, like perspective. So yeah, that's kind of where it came from.
And you mentioned quite a few times as well that your faith has sort of also inspired you to write as well. So for you, because I know some artists are like this, like, were you ever like, oh, I don't want to be known as a Christian poet, or I don't want people to sort of tag me as that name, or so just how's that sort of been like for you?
It's difficult because a lot of the time I am inspired to talk about Jesus.
Yeah.
I'm inspired to talk about my faith. But I think that I'm learning how to marry marry my faith with like topics that are relevant to people.
Yeah.
So that other people can listen and they can feel kind of seen. But also it's a difficult thing for me because like I don't really see my Christianity as a religion.
Yeah.
Right? I see it as like, this is life to me. And so even like when people try to put you in a box like, oh, he's a Christian poet or he's a Christian this, it's like, no, I'm a poet.
Yeah.
I just have something that informs my worldview. It's the same way that like some people are poets because of the pain they've been through.
Yeah.
So would I call you a pain poet?
I hear that. No, you wouldn't.
Call you a poet, right?
Yeah,
It's still a poet. And so yeah, having to navigate that is interesting. I try not to think about it. I try to just make what I'm inspired to make, and it will touch who it needs to touch. It will touch a Christian, or it will touch a person who doesn't believe as well. Like, yeah.
Yeah. And can you just talk through us about your creative process, like sort of like how when you are inspired by something, how do you go about it? How do you go about sort of structuring your poems? If that makes sense. What's that like for you?
I think it depends. So on one hand, I could get like random ideas.
Yeah.
So like I could be sitting on the train. I could be in the bathroom.
Yeah.
Like it could come just.
It just comes in, just like yeah.
I'm just like, okay, cool. Like this is kind of cool. So I'll write down like a note, right? So if I have the time to actually sit down and write it out, I'll sit down and write it out. But most of the time I'm on the move. So I write a note. I put like maybe a title or something like that. Like I don't know. I can't think of the title. Right
That's all right. Don't worry.
I'll put a title and I will maybe revisit it at a later time, or maybe something will remind me of it and I'll be like, I need to get back to writing that and finishing that off. So that's kind of the conception of the ideas. Another conception of the ideas would be if somebody requires something. So let's say someone's like, oh, we have like an event and it's this theme. That will also give me an idea. It's like, oh, okay, that's the theme. Okay, so I'll sit down. I'm like, okay, so this is the theme. This is what they want to talk about. This is what they want people to go away with. And so I map that out. And so I have like a beginning, middle, and end of each poetry piece. Maybe like an introduction to the topic, the dilemma of the topic or like the intricacies of the topic, and then a conclusion as to what I want people to take away about the topic.
It's quite a nice structure though, because it's like it allows it to flow as well.
Exactly. It's like a kind of like storytelling, you know.
Basically,
and I think, you know, it definitely, my upbringing in English definitely helps with that, because as I said, I love creative writing. So being a storyteller, having to like write stories for essays and things of that nature, it's just kind of ingrained in my mind that like, okay, this is a story that I'm telling, like this is a poetic story. So
that's cool. And do you tend to freestyle a lot? Like, would you, if I gave you some words now, would you be able to just give us a little snippet of your craft? Yeah?
I mean,
Are you up for it?
My gosh.
So if I gave, so let me think. So I'm trying to even look in the room. All right. Okay, my words are water bottle, Vaseline, and light. So you can either choose one of those words and make something out of it, or use all three. Up to you.
Oh boy.
Up to you.
Oh boy. All right, you know what? Let's challenge ourselves in it.
I believe in you.
I'm gonna use all three.
Are you gonna use all three?
Okay, I'm gonna use all three.
All right, I trust you.
So water bottle, Vaseline, and light.
Yeah.
Okay.
Give me some time.
Okay. Okay, cool. I got it.
Okay. I was like, shall I look away?
So at one point, your foundation was Vaseline. Like before you had makeup and MAC and all these other things, you used Vaseline. And you didn't really care about being seen by all of these obscene, crazy boys who keep hollering. You know, they're thirsty.
Oh.
And they need a water bottle on tap.
That's two. Believe in you.
Help me. All right. They need a water bottle on tap. But they're too blind to see the light of Jesus Christ.
Jeez, come on. I'll give you that. And you used all three.
Oh, God.
You did well.
I'm sweating.
You did well. Thank you. That was good. I enjoyed that.
Appreciate it.
And what would you say is sort of your top 3 tips, I'd say, you'd give to anybody who is who wants to who's aspiring to become a poet or writer, or is like, I've got this idea or this concept, I'm not really sure how to go about it. What would be like your top kind of 3 tips for them?
I would say first thing, know what you're getting into. Count the cost. Count the cost. Like, I think everybody wants to be famous. Say famous. Everybody wants to do something creative and do all these things, but it's not really. What's going to sustain you is your why. So really count the cost. Like, are you actually, and I say called to do this thing? Like, are you actually compelled to do it? Are you inspired to actually do this thing? Or are you doing it just because it's just a good idea?
Yeah.
Because when like you do get frustrated and when things aren't working out for you,
you took it to me.
You know, when like things just ain't working. Like when I'm at my computer and I'm recording and the takes are just terrible. Okay, and my laptop crashes. I have to remind myself, why am I doing this again? Why am I doing this again? Otherwise, I'll just quit. You know.
Yeah.
So I think the first thing, count the cost. Count the cost. Second thing would be, don't be scared to fail. Like, don't be scared to fail, man. Everybody is confused.
Okay.
That's one thing I tell myself. Every single person you see on the planet is confused. The person you walk past, the old person, this person, that, but they're all confused. And everyone's just trying to make it through life. And so you shouldn't let people's opinions of your failings tear you down or make you stop like doing things. And then the third one is just start. Just
do it.
Just do it.
I think that's always the hardest thing. Because I think even myself, when I was even writing my short spoken word or directing my own pieces, it's just like, I don't know, like even my play I've just been putting down for like a year. I'm like, I keep moving away from it because I'm like, I don't want to touch it. I don't want to, or you're just kind of like, my words aren't good enough. So like, how do you sort of overcome that sort of?
I feel that still. I think the reason why we do that as well, like just to kind of touch on that, is because we want things to be perfect. So like I'm quite a perfectionist as well. It's like I want things to be good quality. Like I want it to look this way, sound this way. But the problem with that is that you don't give yourself room to grow from that point. So if you're just waiting for everything to be perfect before you do something, then you won't realize there is more in you that is even past that perfection that you're thinking about. So like, for me, one thing that helps me to like to just keep doing stuff is just like reminding myself that I'm gonna get better.
Yeah, that's good.
I think, you know, it can be a thing to wrestle with, because like sometimes it's like, this might be my best work though. Like this piece, my best piece. I don't know if I can make one better than this. I don't even know if there's more topics to talk about, you know. And it's like, life is so big. You have so many experiences. There are too many things on this planet to inspire you. You know, like scientists are trying to figure out everything, like, and every single time they reach a dead end. Yeah. Because creation is like too big. So there's so many things to draw creativity from. And I think that you are actually hindering yourself by not starting.
It's true.
You're hindering yourself. Yeah. So
you're sort of like suppressing that creativity as well. It. And not sort of growing through it. I feel like I'm talking to myself, but yeah, not sort of growing through it. It's just like, it's just there, that idea's just sitting there, and it's not, you don't know what it could become as well. Because I'm sure when you write your first drafts, it's not the same as in your last draft, so it's just pushing yourself a bit more.
Exactly.
Yeah. And do you also, because I know you also make videos with your spoken words, do you tend to shoot them yourself and also edit them yourself? What's that process like? And did you also teach yourself to edit as well? Yeah. Doing it all.
I'm trying. Look,
yeah.
In this life, you gotta do what you can with your hands, because things are expensive. But no, for me, yeah, in terms of the videos and stuff, I've done some of the videos myself. It's actually funny because I've actually shot a lot of the videos on my phone.
Oh wow, okay.
I don't have a camera at the moment.
I see.
But it's funny because our phones are a lot more capable than we think.
Yeah.
Like my phone actually can shoot in 4K. Wow. So like I've been using my phone like to do a lot of the shoots, but I also try to use like stock footage as well.
Oh yeah.
Like free stock footage. Maybe like somebody else will also help me with videography for other videos. Like that was like a video that I did for my brother, for instance, and I had a friend who came over, literally, like we went to different places and he helped me to shoot with his camera. So
that's good.
There's always that too, using your friends, utilizing people that are around you to help.
Using your friends properly, guys, not just using them nicely.
Don't just use them and then throw them to the side.
That's good. And I know that you didn't really study creative writing or spoken word at university. You studied sports science, right? Is that correct?
That's
sports science. Okay, great. And so, what was that like for you, I guess? Because you went to university, studied that, and then once you left university, could you just explain your journey from going from that degree and then now committing to a creative career? What was that journey like for you? Did you know what you wanted to do? Oof. Yeah, you can explain the whole shebang.
That's the valley. Okay, that's what I call it. I call that the valley, because, man, so yeah, I didn't study creative writing, nothing like that.
Yeah.
For me, it was a very hard transition, because I think it was around my second year.
Yeah.
So I was getting a lot more involved in my faith, and I felt like God was telling me, like, I don't want you to do sports science. Because the plan was, okay, cool, after this degree, I'm going to do a master's in physiotherapy. And then I'm going to become a physiotherapist. Yeah. Work for like a club or a team. Yeah. That was the plan. It was like, oh, cool, nice 9 to 5,
get that money, get that money,
all this jazz. And God was like, boy, there's more inside of you. Like, there's some stuff I need to get out. And I was like, okay, cool. So how am I going to do this? So I finished the degree, obviously, because, you don't want to waste the money, that tuition fee.
Can't.
So I finished it, and it was afterwards, I was just, I don't know, I was going from job to job.
Yeah.
So I did first aid job for a bit, I worked in a nursery for a bit, I worked in my church office for a bit. What else did I do? I worked at a rugby stadium for a bit as well as a steward. So I was just doing different things, obviously, to have money so that I can still live and stuff, but whilst I was doing that, I was like really praying and stuff and speaking to loads of different people and saying, hey, like, this is what I feel like I'm supposed to be doing. How should I go about it? And yeah, it was a very long process, but once I kind of just started, and you know what, lockdown helped a lot. Lockdowns helped a lot, because I was kind of forced to take videos, forced to write down these spoken words, forced to put them online. and put myself out there. And you know, friends are really good as well in the process because a lot of them were pushing me to doing it. They were like, yeah, like you're really good, like you should really pursue this thing. I was like, yeah, am I really that good, etc.
Yeah.
And they're really reminding me like, no, like you can do this kind of thing. So that really helps too. So many different little nuggets in there. So yeah, it's quite a broad one, yeah.
And did you ever, even though you did start to sort of commit to a creative journey, did you ever do any sports anyway outside of it? Even though, so you did a degree, do you do sports outside of it anyway? Or?
Yeah, so I love basketball. Oh, I love basketball. I feel like I'm contrary to a lot of British guys who love football and stuff.
Yeah.
When the football's on, I could care less. I don't understand the hype behind it. But no, I love basketball. I guess I got a love for basketball quite early. So when I was like 11 years old, before 11, I was playing football, like every other kid.
Like every other kid.
Right. But my older brothers, they started playing basketball. And I was like, oh, this kind of cool. And I didn't want to be left out. So I started like following them to basketball training and stuff like that. And then, yeah, like literally from the age of 11 till now, like I play basketball like as regularly as I can. So that also helps as well, I guess, with the whole creativity, because you just have something else to kind of
just
do
sort of,
and, you know, exercise. So yeah.
Because do you feel like as well, even with that, because I feel also being a fellow creative myself, I feel like sometimes you can get so in such a world where it's just like you just need to feel like you need to keep producing, you need to be creating, otherwise you're not doing it or you're not great. And so how's that for you as well when you go through that?
That's something I had to really teach myself to stay away from, because sometimes I guess when you create an online presence, you feel like you always have to be present online. Yeah. And it's a scary duality, because it's like I'm not God. Right? I'm not omnipresent. Yeah. And I wasn't made to be omnipresent. And so you have to put boundaries, you know. I think for me, when I have felt like I just need to create, this needs I just had to like delete Instagram.
Delete that, guys.
Delete things and be like, nah, I'm off of this thing. Like I am gonna take my time to center myself. And also, you know, when you're always creating, you miss out on things around you. Yeah. You know, you don't really spend as much time with your family, you don't chat to your friends. Yeah. The things in life that are actually important, like the reason why you're creating, you know, like you're creating, in the end of the day, obviously you're creating to impact people and stuff. But then the people around you that you connect with, you're not impacting, you're not connecting. And let's say money comes from the creativity and you get paid a lot. Once again, who are you going to spend that money with? Who are you going to share it with? So it's learning priorities. I think there's a phrase that my pastor says. He says, being before doing. Being before doing. And you know, another pastor that I know says, you know, you are a human being, not a human doing. It's true. Right? Everything that we do flows from like who we are. And sometimes I've found anyway that sometimes when I'm over creating and I'm like proper pushing, it's because there's like an insecurity in me. Interesting. There's like a need for like maybe affirmation
from others, from getting your work. So is that to validate your work, or is it more like, I want that, I need that attention as a creator?
Yeah. I think it can be a bit of both. It can be, you know what, I'm good at what I do, people need to see it, and then you just push a bit too much. It can also be that like within your own heart you feel a bit insecure. You just feel a bit insecure, maybe like you're not receiving love from where you need to receive love, or you don't really have a solid identity in yourself, like outside of what you do. And I think that's interesting. That's something that a lot of people struggle with though, like even outside of creativity, like just in work and different things. A lot of people throw themselves into working because it's hard to sit still. Yeah. It's hard to like actually just be like, I'm comfortable with me. Like, let me just sit here. Not doing anything. Let me even turn off the TV and just sit in a room. Like we can't even do, it's difficult. It's crazy. Yeah, it's true. That. So, because even like you feel like even you're resting, it feels like I need to be doing stuff, I need to be making something. Even if it's not poetry, then it like whatever other kind of creative thing you do, you feel like you just need to throw yourself into that. But I think it is important to sort of remember like, okay, let me just take my time. Okay, if I don't have work, I think especially with lockdown, I think you probably found this.
not having work has allowed you to create, but I'm sure it's also allowed you to just have space to just be still, to think, to just take in what's happening, or like walk around your parks and stuff like that.
Those walks.
Those walks. I'm gonna say the part that's behind my house, I was like, I never realized how important that was to my life during lockdown. Like just taking a walk, see, and even people like sort of waving at you in the park, like, hi, it's just taking it. Okay, this is weird, but yeah. How was like your walk? How were your walks? How was that for you?
The walks. The walks amazing. It's funny because a lot of my creative ideas came from the walks. See, like being before doing. And so the walks were really good, man. I felt like I got to be the child again that I actually am. Because I always say that like adults are just children with responsibilities. Like you don't really grow up inside. Like you grow up in maturity and like the way you look at certain things, but everyone's a child like on the inside. It's just that we've been forced to have responsibilities, right? As you grow up. And I got to really like engage with the child that's inside of Emmanuel.
That's good.
You know, and yeah, just like, because as I say, like we go through life so quickly, so we miss out on just like certain things. Like there was one time I was on a walk and I just thought to myself, this is just so nice. Like I was just walking through the grass and the sun was shining and I was just like, like this is cool. Like this is what it means to be a human. This is what it means to just be, you know. So yeah, the walks are really, really, really good. Really good.
That's good. Yeah. That's good. And even, I know we've talked a bit about changing, not doing something related to your degree and sort of committing to a creative career. Were you ever fearful about it? And how was that process for you? Especially knowing it's like, okay, I'm also going to be working self-employed and stuff like that. How was that, like dealing with that sort of anxiety, or if you had anxiety about it? But yeah.
Boy, I'm still dealing with
that. Still dealing with it.
that ain't gone away nowhere. You know, that being self-employed, being a creative, it's difficult, especially because I think the fear for me is more so disappointing people. Disappointing people. Going throughout school, right? Yeah. I say this in the most humble way.
That's all right. You can. Right. We still see you as humble. Don't worry. You be you.
By the grace of God.
Yeah.
I'm somewhat like bright. Right.
Yeah.
So school wasn't hard for me. Like I could kind of not cruise, but I could work hard. But I could make sure I got a good enough grade, and I'm kind of cool like that. But I think that the issue with that is that a lot of people are looking at me and like, Emmanuel, you could be doing something else right now. You could be, if you wanted to, you could do dentistry or something. You could do that, or you could be a lawyer, or you could. And it's like, I could be those things. And if I was to be those things, it would only be to appease you lot. But it's not who I am. And it's not who God wants me to be, right? And so that fear, I think you just I have to combat it with like, and this is where my faith comes in, right? Combating it with my faith has been probably it's the penultimate thing, to be honest, because when people have so many different opinions about what you should do, when society has so many opinions of where you should be, what you should do, you're 24, you should have this by now, that by now, all this jazz, all these things. And it's like, but not everyone who is in their 20s has all those things. So who's wrong and who's right?
Where do these come from? Where have these?
Exactly. And so that's where my faith comes in, because like, this is the foundation. Like what God has said is the foundation for me. And it helps me to just extract myself from the world, you know? Not be lazy or be like unlogical or, you know, just illogical. But to have a dream that you work hard for, and to just do the thing that you are supposed to be doing. You know, there are enough clones in the world. No, let's be real. Like there are enough robots who are maybe in a 9-to-5 just because it's just the thing to do. You know, I don't have anything against 9-to-5s. I just think if you're going to be in something, do it because you actually want to do it, and because you are actually inspired and called to doing that thing. And if you're called to do the 9-to-5, go and do it, and do it well. If you're not called to doing that, go and run a business. If you're not called to doing that, go and be a creator. Like, do what you're actually called to do. That helps me. Like remembering that it helps me with the whole fear. Yeah.
And how did sort of friends and family take to you sort of committing to this? Were they like for it, or was it like, are you sure you can be, as you said, dentistry, lawyer, doctor?
Gosh.
How was that for you taking that in? Yeah.
Difficult.
Difficult.
I think some people have been for it, some people have been against it. I remember when I graduated uni, and a year/2 years out of uni, every single friend around me and like cousin and stuff were getting graduate jobs.
No.
Every single one of them, graduate job here, graduate job there, graduate job there. People are looking at me like, Eman, like, what are you doing, kind of thing. Like, are you applying for jobs? And I'm applying for jobs just because, like, obviously for money's sake, but also just so that I don't look like a bum.
Like you're not, And
it's like, I'm not actually a bum. I'm working on things, but like,
it's just,
you just can't see it, you know, right now. And, even though I was applying for all these jobs, I wasn't getting them. And obviously, this is also, once again, where my faith comes in, because it's like, I don't have bad grades. My degree's a good degree.
Yeah.
Like, I'm applying for jobs that are quite degree specific as well, and I'm just not getting anything. I'm just like, what's going on here?
It's like,
it's like everything's blocked, like.
And the money's coming in for your creativity, and it's just like, so, what do I do? What path do I take? I hear that.
And so, it was interesting, man. Obviously, some people were really helpful. Some people were really like supportive. So especially those people who really know me and know me really well. Like, they know that, like, if I'm choosing to do this, it's not because I'm just I don't know, not caring, about what I should be doing. But it was a very difficult time, very, very weird. And I feel like I've had to keep continuing, keep disappointing people, sadly. But I think that is a pioneer's, what's that word called? Trial. I feel like every single great pioneer, every single person who has done something different that has, created a massive thing, they've had to disappoint people because it's different. And people are scared of the unknown. People are scared of different. And so, you just got to keep respectfully disappointing people, and working hard at what you're actually doing. It will prove it in its time. Like, the fruit will show. Just gotta commit to the process.
And did you have any sort of mentors or leaders who sort of also supported you on your journey or led you on the way?
How
was that? How did you find them? How did it?
So even now, like, shout out to my Pastor Ayo.
Come on, Pastor Ayo.
Pastor Susan. I'll shout out to my creative mentor Tambo as well. Like, just shout out to different people, man. I think obviously being a Christian and getting like revelation and things of that nature, like from prayer and different things, like they see what God has put on me, and as much as they are all successful in their own right, they understand that, that this is what God is calling you to be successful at. And so they're not what's that word called? Dismissive. They're not putting me down and saying, oh, maybe you should try something else. They're not doing that. They're saying, no, like, if you're going to do this thing, push, do it properly, commit to it. And it's really helpful because, when times when I feel like, just doubtful, I'm just like, I don't want to do this anymore. Those are the times when, like, my creative mentor, for instance, like Tambo, he would be like to me, like, remember kind of like why you're doing this, like, you are called to this, you are amazing, etc. After I do a piece of work, he'll give me feedback, like, no, this is dope. He'll like, sometimes, like, he'll set me like a little homework task. He'll be like, I want to kind of test how strong you are at this. Create this piece in 2 days.
Wow, it's just like,
I'm like, alright, cool.
Yeah.
And I do it. And then after I've done it, he's like, see, you can do it.
Aww.
See, like, you can do this thing. Like, you are called to do this thing. Other people would find it very difficult, but it's because this is your lane. Just like how, let's say somebody who's in the fashion industry finds it very easy to come up with a fashion concept and create clothing and things like that. If somebody else did that, they find it really difficult. It's like, this is why it's your lane, because you don't find it as difficult as other people. This is what you're supposed to be doing. Even if it isn't showing all that it can show you right now, this is what you're doing. So people have been, those people anyway, have been very supportive, very helpful.
And how important has that support been for you to keep you on the road?
Really important, really important. no man is an island.
Yeah.
You know, honestly, we're not supposed to do this life by ourselves. And obviously, everything in the world basically says to you, you're self-made.
Come on, self-made. You do it on your own. Come on, it's all about
strong,
you.
all this
We
jazz.
hear it.
it's just a load of nonsense, man. And I think it really adds to people's anxiety and their depression. You feel like you're by yourself. There's no one to help you. So having friends and family members, some family members and people around to like really encourage, pray for me, help me. Like, yeah, it's been amazing. I think because I have it, it can be easy to take it for granted.
Yeah.
Like sometimes I'll get like comments and things like from people saying, "Oh, this is amazing," like, blah, blah, blah. And I'm just like, "Oh, thank you," but like I'm not really in the moment. I don't really take it in because people have been supportive in it. But I think it is important to take a step back and be like, "No, like people have really, really helped me." So yeah, no, that's a good question. Yeah,
that's good. And even on the topic of like creativity and what you're interested in, remember somebody said to me, money is important, but make sure you do what you love. Yeah. So what's sort of your views on that statement? Because I'm just kind of like, yeah, I like my money, but I'm also like, I like my creativity. What are your views on that?
I need food on the table.
You need food? I need food on the table? Yeah, I hear you.
Man, that's good.
What do you think about that? Even if,
I think that when you have a vision and it's important, I think that money will follow. Now,
so that's such a follow.
I think money will,
like, take it by caution.
Yeah,
by
caution. I think money will follow. I think I think actually the key, even for a lot of business people say this, that like providing a service is the most important thing.
Yeah.
Not the money. The money is a byproduct. The money will come if your service is valuable, right? You know, someone once said to me, you know, make yourself a person of value, you know, like by being able to be amazing at what you do and what you give out. And so like, I think, I think in terms of money and things of that nature, you don't have to strive for all that stuff. I think obviously money makes the world go around, but if you can find like a part-time job that will sustain your creativity, that will push that, after a while, your creativity will be able to feed you. I genuinely do believe that. So yeah, that's the kind of balance that I try to maintain with that, because otherwise you just get anxious. You start creating out of lack rather than creating from a place of abundance in your heart. And then like you also have to be accountable about what you're putting out. If you're creating just to make money,
that's true.
You're no longer serving people. You're no longer giving them what they actually need, like through whatever you do. So as a poet, I'm not giving them the words and the poetry that they actually need. I'm giving them stuff that I know they're gonna clap to
because I can get
money.
Yeah, that's true.
And I can't do that. It's just not integral.
It sort of doesn't become like, I know it is a job, but it just becomes, I don't know how to explain it. It just becomes like
transactional.
Yeah, mechanic. Yeah, basically in a way, because you're kind of like, okay, boom, boom, and it just takes out that love sometimes. Exactly. So money is important, and please do be creatives because we need our money. So
pay us.
Pay us. It takes a lot to make such unique stuff and to talk from that. And I think it's such a vulnerable thing you do as well, especially being a writer. Yeah. There's so much you just put out and pour out that you're like, for some reason, I'm trusting the world with my life, you know, basically. And just putting it out there. Yeah. So I think it's a brave thing you're doing. Very brave. And has there ever been like a performance or a piece of work you created that you've done it, but then you sort of regretted doing it, and how did you sort of deal with that? Or you may have not enjoyed so much, but yeah.
Good question. I have to really pick my brain for this one. Right. I would say maybe there's a piece that I did called Through Your Eyes. It's basically a piece about insecurity and past insecurities that I had like previously battled with. And I was like, as I was gonna do it, I was like, should I really put this out? This one's a bit, it's a bit too much. Like there's certain things that I can be vulnerable about, but I think it's also the whole masculinity thing as well, because this piece was more about me. Like, it was, when I say about me, it was about me. It was about how I perceive my looks. It was more so from that lens, right? So I'm a late bloomer, okay? Those of you can probably see me on camera. I'm a late bloomer, right? This on my chin, this little goatee hair.
It's growing.
Oh, thank God. It only started coming in when I was like, it was like 21, 22, right? And I've been relatively short as well all my life. So, you can imagine growing up, going through secondary school, like going to an all-boys school as well. I went to an all-boys school. That's interesting. Right, seeing all of these guys who just, puberty is just blessing them.
Yeah.
And then obviously, you know, you've got the guys who are trying to get girls, all this other stuff as you grow up, right? And so I had to like really deal with a lot of internal like insecurity. And that was the stuff that I was going to talk about.
Yeah.
So talking about like, you know, not having a beard, not having any facial hair, like looking really young, being short. What else? Yeah, just like spots and things that can come up on your face.
Yeah.
And not having the deepest voice, you know, like that kind of stuff. And after I released it, a lot of people were blessed by it. They were like, "Raw, this is so raw and relatable. Wow, like thanks for this." But I just felt naked. Like I felt like, oh God, like people are really viewing this. And you know what it was for me as well? They were past insecurities, right? These aren't things that I believe anymore. But it felt like, people watching this can think that this is who Emmanuel is.
Yeah.
And so when I create work, I have to be okay with the fact that people are going to think that whatever work you create, they're going to think that that's your status.
We're going through that.
We're going through it.
Like,
like if I make a piece about depression, they're going to think, oh God, I've had times I've made certain pieces and I get DMs from people and they're like, "Man, are you okay? Like, you going?
Is everything alright?"
Yeah. Like, gee, this is just art. Like, it's okay. Like, I'm not going through this right now.
Like, you probably wrote like 2-3 months ago, something like that. Yeah.
Exactly. So juggling that is really interesting. Yeah,
I hear that. And you know, I'm a massive fan of your pieces. Love them all. And I think what I love about your writing is how relatable it is. And you sort of wrote in beautiful. I think my favorite pieces as well are the ones you sort of wrote about your mother and your brother who passed away as well. May he rest in peace as well. I was going to say, do you feel like through writing such pieces, even when you were going through grief about your brother, do you feel like creativity has sort of helped you sort of navigate those moments in your life? And if you could just elaborate a bit more on that.
Cool.
Yeah,
definitely. It's definitely been an outlet for me. Definitely been an outlet. I think it can get difficult to articulate how you're feeling, especially with grief and just with life in general. Obviously, you know, my mom is she has a disability, and my brother who passed also had a disability as well, and he passed due to like complications and things. And so it can be quite weird, especially as a guy as well. Like again, to add, like growing up in a society that teaches you that you can't really. It's weird for you to speak about your emotions,
yourself,
to say, "I feel terrible, I'm hurt, like I miss this person." Like, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
To say those things is like taboo, you know. I've always been cool with crying, though. I've been a crier all my life.
Really?
Yeah.
Maybe it's because I have a police teacher friend. Yeah, because I've been trying to get him to cry, and I'm just thinking, can I see you cry? Can I?
I'll talk to him.
Please talk to him. Shout out to Ebbs. Continue.
I'm blast. I'm a crier, man, and I think I'm trying to reconcile my points here. All right, let me scale back.
Take it.
Let me scale back. So, in terms of creativity,
yes,
it has helped a lot. Helps me to articulate my words, to really get my sentiments out, without having to speak to someone. You know, I feel like I'm speaking to myself. I'm just speaking to the abyss.
Yeah.
Right, and I'm able to kind of just say what I'm saying, but then also get perspective too. Because that's the thing, as I said, like with my poetry pieces, I'm always trying to get perspective. Like I think it's dangerous to create pieces where all that's in the piece is pain. And like there is no perspective in that. It's dangerous because like people are consuming that.
Yeah.
If it's just pain and they're going through the same thing,
they're just gonna stay.
That's it. Yeah.
Yeah.
They're gonna stay in
There's
there.
no hope. There's no.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And so for me, it's like even with my brother's one, like at the end of it, I said something like I said, brother, all I have is this hope that when I see you, I will tell you how beautiful you are, and I will tell you 1,000 times that it breaks through your glorified skin until words of affirmation sink in like light. And I was basically speaking about the hope of seeing him again, even though like the whole poem was about my pain, it was about like what I'm feeling. You always got to lead with the right perspective, otherwise you will just stay in some sort of bondage. So it has been very, very helpful. Even the one with my mum that you kind of mentioned. I made that for it was either Mother's Day or her birthday. It was one of the two. Her birthday and Mother's Day are actually very close to each other.
Oh, okay, cool.
She's born 11th of March.
I was gonna say, can't forget your mother's birthday. She brought you here,
okay? I'm here. She's born like 11th of March. So so it was either for her birthday or for Mother's Day, and that one was. It was like I've said these things to her over the years.
Yeah.
I tried to tell her I love her and all this other stuff, but I just really wanted to create something that stays, something that sticks, like with all my sentiments kind of together in a very artistic form. And that really helped because I think also with my mom, it's hard to get her gifts because of her condition. It's like you can't really, there's not much to get her.
Yeah.
It's like, you're going to buy her a handbag, she's not going to use it. You're going to buy her, I don't know. Do you know what I mean? Just different things. It's like she's not really going to use it. But what I can give her I can give her something to listen to. You know? Nice. So that was kind of my sentiment behind that. So creativity really it does help.
That's good. And even going back to the moment when you were experiencing grief and stuff like that, for you at the moment in your life, did you feel like, because you were still in your early 20s, I guess, what did life sort of feel like for you then? Did you feel like you had to make a lot of changes because of the situation that was happening? And
yeah, man. I feel like I have to fight to create. I have to fight to rest to create.
Okay, cool.
That makes sense. Because with all that happens, all that's going on in my life, obviously, like, I helped to care for my mum as well. And, when my bro was going through what he was going through, like, obviously making the trips to go and see him where he was staying. And, that navigating that space, very, very weird. But I had to... This is why... obviously, I'll just talk about my faith. Like, taking time out to spend with God is like the most important thing to me. Because if I don't do that, I won't be able to create. I won't be able to manage the things I manage. I won't be able to juggle anything. Like all glory, like all honor, all power, all that, all lovely stuff. Like it goes to him, man, because creating in such a circumstance, in your own strength, it's impossible. It's also impossible to find good perspective to then give to other people who might be going through the same stuff. And I honestly, believe that it's only possible because of the time that I take out to spend with God, the perspective that I get from the words of Jesus and from the Bible, and just the peace that God gives me, inside, the joy he gives me inside, all the internal stuff, it reminds me of just people in hard situations, they tend to enjoy things more than people who are doing well. In the sense that if you go to a village in Nigeria or something and you speak to the kids there, they will get so excited over just playing football. Right? But us here, it's like, it's just football.
We see it every day.
Exactly. And I think actually going through the things I've been through and having to juggle those things with creativity and with the schedule, it makes me, I'm more appreciative of being able to do the things that I do. So,
And even with that as well, when you are juggling a lot and you feel like you're burning out, what sort of first things you kind of do to sort of take yourself out of that madness and or when you are burning out, it's like, what kind of things do you do for yourself?
Yeah, so one of the things that I did, especially after grieving, especially during that whole process, was I got counselling. So I got a Christian counsellor. That was really interesting.
Really
interesting.
Really interesting? Okay.
It was good though.
Yeah.
Like I learned a lot, man, from that. And she was just there just to listen to me.
Yeah.
Like I could just kind of speak my mind, like just be
Just
honest.
be open.
And open and give me a lot of clarity and just like different perspective as well. Like, when they ask, when people ask you certain questions, it's like, interesting. I've never thought about it like that. Okay. So that really helped. I think keeping that counselling going in the sense of maybe not with a professional or with my friends.
Yeah.
So when I am feeling overwhelmed, I'm, bummed out, like I have this, so me and my friends, we have this accountability call. Yeah. Obviously Ebbs is a part as well. Yeah. So we've got this accountability call and, every Friday or every other Friday, we get on a little Zoom call and we basically just talk about how we're doing. And we're very honest, we're very transparent. We also like tell each other like our goals and things of that nature, so we can keep each other accountable. And literally, actually, it's funny. This week, we actually had a really transparent conversation, and I literally poured my heart out. I was like, "Listen, guys, I can't lie. This is happening in the house. Feeling this way with family. The creativity is slow right now. I feel unmotivated." Etc. Etc. And these men were just like, okay, cool, let's talk about it. And they were able to give me good perspective.
That's good.
They were able to give me some like advice and some tools to kind of get away from that stuff and take time out. I'd say a third thing for me is reading. Reading's good, man, and we don't do it enough. I think reading is so good. Like just taking our time right in the middle of the day to be like, okay, I'm not creating nothing anymore. I'm not looking at no screens. I'm not talking to no one. But I'm putting some soothing music in the background, open up a book and get to reading. So there's a few things that help, man. Exercise as well. Exercise is really
What's
important.
your favourite sort of exercise or workout kind of thing to do?
Boy, skipping.
Okay.
Skipping's really nice, man. Like I enjoy skipping more than running. I really like skipping. I try to just do different exercises at home. So I've got like resistance bands and weights and pull-up bar, push-up bar, those kind of things. So that really helps. It helps.
Yeah. And if you now that because you said you're 24, isn't it? Yeah. So did you ever sort of, I guess before you reached your 20s, did you have sort of a rosy picture of what you'd like, of what you sort of wanted in your 20s or thought it would be? So what was that dream, and how much of it has come to fruition?
Come to Emmanuel. Come to Emmanuel's world.
Come to Emmanuel's
see into this mind. All right, cool. So this was the fantasy, right?
Yeah. Tell us.
I thought I'd be married by like 22.
22. Wow. I mean, it's possible. I mean, now I know you're 24 now, but I
thought I'd be married by 22. I just thought that like life would just be a lot easier. I thought I'd be married. I thought that maybe like even poetry wise, maybe like things would be kicking off a bit more.
Yeah.
What else did I think? I thought that I would have my own place or something like that. Thought I'd have loads of money saved in the bank, thousands of pounds that I do not have.
It's okay.
What else did I think, man? Yeah, I just thought I'd have things together. Like I thought that in your 20s you're a young adult and like you're just, I don't know, you're in the prime of your life. Yeah. And you're in the job you want to be in.
It's all perfect.
Things are perfect and cushy, and like maybe every weekend you go out for a little treat with your friends. I had this.
Just that,
I had this picture. It's like it's quite funny because when I was maybe like 16, I thought to myself, because I would look at these 20 something year olds, I'd be like, oh, I can't wait
till you're that age.
25, like lit. And I realised this is all a scam.
It's a massive scam. Fam,
it's a scam. And like even when I look at like, let's say birthday celebrations, oh, you're 21, yeah, 25, it's like, fam, it's like they're celebrated so big, but they're going through stuff.
Yeah.
Like that 25-year-old is going through
stuff. Well, there's stuff to come, kind
stuff
of thing.
to come.
Yeah.
I'm realizing that, you know, as you get older, like things get worse. Like not in
Guys, don't worry.
not in a crazy way,
Yeah,
like
but-
obviously, but as in you get more responsibilities
Yes.
and life is a lot more real, man. And honestly, like I wish that I wasn't so like quick to grow up.
Or caught up in that. I need to
Caught
get
up
this,
in
I
that.
need to get that.
Yeah.
This needs to be like this. Just trying our best to just enjoy it and where you're at, kind of a thing. 'Cause
Yeah.
It's such a, I think it can sort of cloud your judgment, cloud your perspective. Then you're like, oh, wait, I was rushing to be here, but now it's just like, I could have enjoyed that on my 25th and my 21st, just sort of, what's the word? Sort of soaring through rather than just trying to be like, I need this, I need that, I need that. But obviously it's all different for everybody and there's different goals and aspects people have. So it can be a lot,
Exactly.
And is there, I'd say, what kind of values or sort of life lessons have you learned that you either stick to right now, or it's just like, actually, yeah, that's been a valuable lesson I've learned whilst being in this age group?
Don't rush.
Mm.
Yeah, don't rush, or I guess that comes out of don't compare. Because oftentimes we compare because we're rushing.
Yeah.
We rush because we're comparing.
I'm even just saying, yeah.
We rush because we're comparing. So I would say don't compare yourself to other people. You know, I'm learning that, you know, as I said, everybody's confused. Honestly, everyone's confused and everyone's lane is very different. There is not a set lane for each person. There's not a set lane for everyone together. There's a set lane for each person. So definitely don't compare. I try not to compare myself.
Yeah.
Try not to rush things. I do not have to have a wife and a car and a house right now. Who told me I need to have those things? Right?
I hear you, man.
No one, you know. So definitely that's the big lesson. Distinguishing between friends and acquaintances.
That's true. Do you feel like you got better at that now at this age, or was it like when you kind of leave uni? Because I don't like, for me, I kind of felt like I learned that lesson in uni because I felt like first you have all these friends, everybody wants a friend, and then you start to be like, oh yeah, those 10 friends I had has now become like 5, 3, 2. Do you get what I mean? So yeah, when did you sort of learn?
Yeah, I would literally say after uni as well. Literally as I graduated, because I'm an introverted people person, and that makes no sense. Right, I'm an introverted people person. Yeah. So I do that in my own space. I'm not actually as outspoken as people probably think. If I need to, like, you know, right now we're talking, like I will speak, but I would prefer not to. I just feel like I need to at times. I prefer not to. And so in that case, like I like people. I like being around people. So. You know, I like being around people sometimes. Yeah. And the problem is that I can, especially in uni, you start to think that not everyone's your friend, but the people you're around and you hang with, you think, oh no, these are my friends. But it's like, one thing I've learned anyway, especially being in ministry, as you said, like, you're gonna help a lot of people. You're gonna serve a lot of people. You're gonna do a lot of things for a lot of people. Yeah. But you just have to you have to be careful, because it doesn't necessarily mean that they're your friends. Yeah. You know. And that's a big lesson I had to learn, because I think I'll just be transparent. Yeah. Think a lot of people have used me, most definitely. You know, they'll come to me maybe for prayer or for this or for that or advice or different things of that nature, and I don't mind doing it, because the advice I'm going to give you, the prayer that I'm going to give you, it doesn't come from me, it comes from God. But it's still the act for me is still an interesting thing, because people will come to you when they really need it. Yeah. But when you check up on them, they'll give you very minimal responses. Oh yeah, I'm fine. Yeah. How are you? Okay, cool. Is that all right? Well, that was. Yeah. Well, that was. It was just. Cool. It wasn't a connection. It was more like I just needed something. I just need you. You know what I mean? And my thing is when I stopped checking up on. So we're hitting a nerve, aren't we? No, but I'll be honest, when I stop checking up on people, they don't check up. You know, and the thing is with me, once again, is that because of ministry, because I'm a ministry person. If you do come to mine and we don't talk and you don't check on me, I'm still probably gonna check up on you. Yeah, which can be I don't know. People could probably say it's a fault or something.
Yeah.
But I've definitely distinguished between who are my friends and who are my acquaintances. So now I don't have expectations with certain people.
Yeah.
Like there are certain people who may think that we're friends, but in my head and in my heart, it's like, no, like we're not friends. It doesn't mean I don't love you.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean I don't respect you as a person. If you ever need me, I will be there. Like if I can help.
Yeah.
But in your head, I put you in acquaintance because it helps me to manage my own heart.
Yeah.
Helps me to manage my own expectations.
And what you give out as well, yeah.
And what I give out, the energy that I give out. So
that's good.
That's been a major lesson in these 20 streets.
And if you didn't have sort of your creative streak and you didn't become a poet, is there any other kind of thing you wanted to do or wanted to become? Yeah, why are you crying? You cry. What would you have done? What do you think you would have done if you didn't do?
Oh my goodness. Okay, if I didn't stop growing, I would have literally given this basketball thing like a real shot. Yeah. I would have played professional somewhere. Maybe not the NBA, but maybe somewhere in Europe or something.
Yeah.
Because like I'm, I thought it's not to toot a horn, but yeah, growing up playing basketball, I'm actually pretty good.
Yeah.
I've been pretty decent.
That's cool.
And so that was one thing that I really loved, like, and I was getting so good, like getting a lot of different acknowledgements and things of that nature. But I just wasn't. I didn't continue growing. And there's a certain height you kind of have to be to play basketball. Even the shorter players, amongst basketball players, are like 5'10" to like 6'2".
Wow.
That's short. That's the shorter.
That's short. I mean, wow.
Right, and if you're lucky, if you're exceptionally good, 5'8", 5'7", 8', 9 is like the cutoff point where you have to be really, really good. I'm not even 5'7". Okay, I'm like 5'4". So it was basically that dream ended real quick.
Sorry, it's okay. It's all right. It's all right. It's all right. And finally, what kind of either? Actually, no. Let me think about this. Yeah. How would you sum up your 20s in one word? And what advice would you give to people in their 20s now? So that's sort of 2 questions.
How would I summarize my 20s in one word?
In one word.
And what advice would I give to
people? And that's a lot. It's hard.
Uncomfortable. That's what I'd say.
That's the summarize.
That's the summarize.
And the advice?
I would say find out who you are in God before you rush. I think it will save you many years of maybe going in a direction that you don't even need to touch. Yeah. Take time to really find out who you are in God, but also make memories. Have fun. Like your 20s ain't coming back.
This is it.
Right, this is it. So make memories, have fun, exercise. Oh my days. If I could really scream this, because I think some people think that, you know what, when I kind of settle down, get into my I'll just get into exercise. It's going to be so much harder when you get past 30, and your metabolism starts slowing down to exercise. Get into a routine now, and maintain it. I would really, that's good.
Thank you, Emmanuel. And is there any work or something coming out that the people need to know about? Or are we keeping it hush hush?
Shall I give you an exclusive?
Yeah, go on, please.
So at the moment, I'm actually working on an EP.
Amazing.
So it's like a poetry EP, but it's gonna have a lot of musicality as well. So I've got some really dope producers that are helping me with that. So yeah, keep your eyes peeled.
Okay,
I don't know when specifically. It'll be out this summer.
Okay, that's nice. We can wait for summer.
Yeah.
That's giving us
so
time.
Just follow me on the socials.
Okay. Where can we find you?
Eman the Messenger on everything. Eman the Messenger YouTube, Eman the Messenger on Instagram, the Messenger on Twitter.
Cool.
I don't really use it. I just come there to rant sometimes. That's me. Yeah.
Cool. Well, thank you so much. It's been lovely to just hear your journey and your story as well, man. I mean, you inspire me. You know that. You know that. Well, thank you so much. It's been fun.
Yeah, bless you. It's been a good conversation.
Thank you.